So, you've submitted your state charitable registration, and now you're wondering what happens next. If you feel like you've just sent your application into a black box, well, you are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to pull back that curtain and show you exactly what's going on behind the scenes.
This explainer is part of our multi-state fundraising compliance series. Our whole goal is pretty simple. We take complex topics like this and make them practical and easy to understand, so you can focus on what really matters, your mission.
All right, so you've done all the work. You've gathered the documents, filled out the forms, and you finally hit submit. But what happens now? For a lot of people, it's a total mystery what state regulators are actually doing. So let's dive in and map out the journey of your application.
The second you hit submit, your application's journey has officially begun. It's now in the hands of the state agency that's responsible for overseeing charitable fundraising. So let's take a look at who those folks are. So who exactly is on the other side of that submission? Well, it actually varies from state to state. Your application will probably land on the desk of a regulator in the Attorney General's office, maybe a Secretary of State's office, or in some cases, a specialized charitable oversight division. These are the key agencies you'll be dealing with.
That big application package you sent in, it's so thorough for a reason. You can think of it as your organization's official introduction to the state. It has everything, from your formation documents and proof of tax-exempt status, all the way to your financial reports, like the IRS Form 990. Okay, once your application is in, the review process kicks off. So what are regulators really looking for? It's not random, it's a very systematic evaluation, and we're going to break it down for you. Regulators usually follow a three-step process. First, and this is absolutely crucial, they just check for completeness. Are all the required forms there? Are all the signatures in place? If not, the application stops right there. But if it is complete, they'll move on to verifying your organizational details, and then, finally, they'll review your financial documents.
It's really common for the review not to end after that first look. In a lot of cases, a regulator will have some follow-up questions, or they might need a bit more information before they can give the green light. This is a totally normal part of the back and forth. If you get a request for more information, it'll often come as something called a deficiency notice. Now, I know that term sounds a little alarming, but it's just standard language. It's simply a formal request for clarification or some extra documents they need to finish the review. It is not a rejection. So why might you get one of these? The reasons are usually pretty straightforward. A missing signature, a little discrepancy in your financial documents, or maybe they just have a question about your fundraising activities. The good news is these issues can almost always be resolved pretty quickly just by providing the information they're asking for.
Once you've addressed any questions, provided any missing info, and the regulator is satisfied that your application meets all the state's requirements, you'll get your approval.
Now, this approval can come in a few different forms. You might get an official confirmation letter in the mail or a formal registration certificate to keep in your records. Sometimes, you'll just see your organization's name pop up in the state's public charity registry online. At this point, you are officially authorized to solicit donations in that state.
But here's where we really need to shift our thinking. Getting that initial approval, that's not the end of the story. It's actually just the beginning of your ongoing compliance journey.
It is so tempting to see that approval letter as the finish line, but it's really just a milestone. The responsibility to maintain your compliance is an ongoing one, and it's every bit as important as that initial registration.
And that's because pretty much every state requires you to renew your registration every single year. This usually involves submitting updated financial information to make sure the state and the public has a current picture of your organization's activities and its financial health. So, to sum it all up, state reviews are a completely normal and routine part of the process. Regulators are mostly just focused on making sure your application is complete, your organizational info is accurate, and your financials are in order. The better you understand this, the better you'll be at preparing accurate filings from the very beginning. And that leaves us with one final thought to take back to your own organization. As your mission grows and your fundraising reach expands into new states, is your compliance process truly ready to grow with it, efficiently and effectively?